let me tell you something about investing. There is no investor that only wins. Never heard of that. Not Steve Cohen, not Jim Simons, not Warren Buffett. Simons was close to bankruptcy twice. Steve Cohen had to shut his firm down. There are so many cases where, it's hard to be right all the time. Pretty much nobody is that. Alejandro, we don't take you seriously, dude. We learned something a long time ago that I think a lot of people need to learn. This is really important. Process is more important or better than or greater than results. So if you don't give the underlying reasons for your thinking, this is what you get judged on. You don't get judged on your results because think about it. If I had my cat poop on a litter box and I divided the litter box into 4 sections, here's the litter box. Here's the litter. There's the poop. And I said, well, let's see here. This is the NVIDIA corner. This is the Palantir corner. This is the Merck corner. And this is the Oklo corner. If this poop was right 3 out of 4 times or 4 out of 4 times, you would think it was magic poop. It's a magic, litter box. But the reality is, that's why we care about process. Why are you doing what you're doing? What got you in this trade? Some people even talk about pedigree. Who are you? Who taught you how to invest? Why should we believe you? Even if you have a good pitch, who the fuck are you? This isn't an easy game. I want to hear about you. That's why, when you become a professional athlete, they want to know, where'd you go to high school? Who's your coach? What's your process? And your results matter too. At the end of the day, 1 and 2 mean nothing if you can't deliver 3. We start with 1 and 2. Don't really care about somebody who gets lucky. Why? We'll take a even bet. You have a 50-50 chance of being right and wrong. You can express this either as 0.5 or 1 over 0.5, which is 2. And, what are the odds you get a bet right? Well, it's 50-50. What are the odds you get 2 bets right? Well, it's 0.25, which is 25%, or the reciprocal of 1 over 2 squared. Well, how about getting 10 bets right? What's 2 to the 10? Does anybody know? Let's see, 2 to the 5th is 32. 2 to the 6th is 64. I think it's 124, right? 2 to the 8 is 256. Yeah, it's 1,024. So to get 10 picks in a row, you have a 0.1% chance. But here's the crazy thing. There's 300 million people in this country. So how many litter boxes is that? It's a lot of litter boxes that are really lucky. I mean, just on 1 million people, that's 1,000 people, right? Kind of remarkable. You got 1,000 Warren Buffetts. I mean, if you could think about options trade. If you can get a 50-50 options trade right 10 times in a row, basically even $500 becomes, $1 million, right? So this is why we care about process, because you're going to run into people that are lucky. And you still have to decide, was it luck or is there an idea behind it? And if they can't explain it, it's probably just a lucky litter box. If they can explain it, it's still probably a lucky litter box. You got to think about it again. Who is this person? Why are they good? What made them good? Natural talent? Is it somebody that they worked with and trained with for years? Did other people recognize their talent? Or nobody's recognized their talent yet, then do they have any? Maybe they don't have talent. Maybe it's a fraud. They could be a savant, but more likely than not, it's not true. So, before you take a stock pick, think about it, because you might be just picking up a turd from a litter box instead of carefully thinking about, is this something that is repeatable? Process is repeatable. Process you can improve over time. You might say, okay, well, I was a really emotional trader 10 years ago, but I'm a lot better now. 10 years ago, I didn't really know my industry like I don't know it now. Whatever it is. 10 years ago, I didn't really understand value. Now I do. 10 years ago, I'd ignore momentum in markets, and now I pay a little attention to it. Whatever it is, your process, you're going to make it better over time, if you can survive. But part of the process is surviving. Part of the problem is your results and surviving stuff like this. And not confusing results for process. It all ties together. God cuts you off at 2 to the 10th. I like it. Yeah, I mean, what doesn't work is also, you have to be very careful about assigning the causality. You could say, one of my favorite things is when people do biotech for the first time. I love this. This happens all the time with every binary event. It's about to happen again with INMB. So with cassava, we explained the short really well. We're like, here's how it's going to work. Here's how this all happens. And then, it happened. And people said, most of the people, like in the Joe Springer chat room and stuff like that, the Cassava chat room, guess what most of the people said? They said, I'm not going to trade biotech again. And so they're trying to eliminate what doesn't work in their investing career. Their money's gone. Hopefully not all of it, maybe all of it for some. And some will say, I'm not going to invest. It's a rigged game. Only guys like Martin can make money in the market. Of course, I feel the same way now about quantum. But the point is that the people who lost their money in cassava refused to blame themselves. They refused to improve their process. Their process wasn't that they should never trade biotech again. That was not what was wrong with their process. What was wrong with their process is that they didn't have one. And the process of saying, well, if I avoid biotech, this won't happen again. And they'll go rush and buy Aqua, or they'll go rush into some eVTOL company, or, Joby, what's it called? Archer Aviation, whatever. And it's like they don't have a process for that either. They just heard the stock's hot. So I feel like, they're completely drawing the wrong inference of what they're learning from in terms of their mistakes. And you can't help those people.